Welcome to Sports Broadcasting. This week is week 5 of the NFL. We're going to be previewing that. There was some great games on schedule for Sunday and also on Monday Night Football, but he's going to get us started on Thursday night.
Last night was Thursday Night Football on Fox. It was a very good game between the Seahawks and Rams in Seattle. Greg Zuerlein missed a 45-yard field goal with 11 seconds left that won Seattle the game. Seattle also had a very clutch interception on one of the last drives. The Seahawks, it was a big win for them. They're now second place in the NFC West, a game behind the Los Angeles Rams, who fell to 3-2 with a loss last night. Seattle is 4-1. Every single game they've won has been within 3 points. It was a really close game. Russell Wilson played phenomenal, though. He had 4 touchdown passes, 268 yards, and completed all but 6 of his passes. Chris Carson also had a big day on the ground, 27 attempts for 118 yards. Jared Goff has been a little inconsistent this season, and it showed in his stat line last night. 29 for 49, not a great percentage. 395 yards, which is really good, and 118 and a touchdown with an interception. Todd Gurley has been struggling with injuries so far this year, and that's still a remnant of what happened last year in the playoffs. 15 attempts, 51 yards, 2 touchdowns, and his first fumble on the season. It was a really big win for Seattle. Now they're a game behind the undefeated San Francisco 49ers, who will play on Monday Night Football against the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are 2-2 coming into this one.
Yeah, as you said, the Browns 2-2, but the Niners, I'm going to talk about them a little bit. They're right now leading the division after last week's bye. They're 3-0. They've beaten the strength of schedule for the first 3 games wasn't that tough, but it will get tougher down the road as they play the Bengals, the Steelers. But it gets tougher now when they play the Browns. And the Browns 2-2 in the AFC North. They're leading the division after they just beat the Ravens, and the AFC North is also tight like this, but the Browns are doing 2-0 away and 0-2 at home. They need to win those home games, because if they get those home games, and they should just split the road games, and they'd be in great position for the playoffs.
Cleveland and San Francisco is a big game. 49ers are trying to stay undefeated. It's really their first real test. It does come at home, and the Browns are very inconsistent. Last week was a big win for them to get the lead in the AFC North against what used to be an undefeated Ravens team. But the Browns have been inconsistent this season. That home loss against the Rams on Sunday Night Football in Week 2, they looked really bad in that game. But it looked like they figured it out last week against Baltimore. And now they're in the lead of the division. But the next game we're going to talk about is the Pittsburgh Steelers home against the Baltimore Ravens. Even though the Steelers are 1-3, they are not at all out of this. If they defeat the Baltimore Ravens here and the Browns lose at San Francisco, which both could definitely happen, Pittsburgh would be in the lead of the division. Baltimore's coming into this game with a 2-2 record, losses to the Browns and Chiefs. Steelers got a win last week on Monday Night Football against Cincinnati. And Baltimore leads the league in total yards of offense. Lamar Jackson is a dual threat quarterback. He can make plays scrambling, probably the best scrambler in the NFL in terms of running the ball. And he's developed a lot as a passer, and that's really part of the offensive explosion that you've seen for Baltimore so far this season. But Pittsburgh is one of the top in the league in takeaways. They have 9 forced turnovers this year, and Pittsburgh also has the advantage because they've won 4 out of the last 5 meetings with the Ravens. Granted, the Ravens are much better this year than they were last year, and even the year before that with Flacco at quarterback. And we also have a backup quarterback who's not really played in tough physical rivalry games like this one. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think the Steelers need to limit Lamar Jackson and make him a passing quarterback and limit his ground game. Once they do that, you saw that the Browns did really good with that last week. They limited him on the ground, and that's probably what got them the win in the Ravens' second loss of the year.
Yeah, the Steelers, this is a big home game for them. As you said, if they win this game and the Browns lose, we're in the lead in the division. But we started off the Steelers started off strong with an 0-3 record against great teams, but now they're playing home against Baltimore after the win against Cincinnati. This should be a winnable game, but it won't be an easy game. I think the Steelers could come out on top, but I think I have the Ravens.
There's still some problems within the Ravens secondary because of lots of the free agent moves they got. They did add Earl Thomas, which was huge for them in the pass defense, but they did lose Terrell Suggs for the linebacking core, so they're still trying to figure it out on defense. An NFC matchup that's we're going to look at is the Packers at Cowboys. The Packers and Cowboys are both 3-1. This is America's Game of the Week on Fox. Both teams lost their first game last week. The Cowboys lost in an ugly 12-10 game against the Saints, and the Packers lost Thursday Night Football at home against the Eagles, and a crazy finish there. Aaron Rodgers is 3-10 in away games since 2017, which is a real big problem. But he's had the Cowboys number the last couple years, as you remember, maybe in 2017, a great divisional round game, and Aaron Rodgers probably had one of the best games of his career in that one. And then last year, they met in the regular season, and the Cowboys won in another tight game there. But Aaron Rodgers, 3-10, that is a terrible record to have on the road, and that's probably his only bad stat. He's a great quarterback. He's in the MVP race. He's played phenomenal this year. Last week, he had some bad moments, but he's probably the top 2-3 quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's going to the Hall of Fame. Dallas, their offense, number 3 in yards per game. Granted, they played the Dolphins and Giants and Redskins before their last matchup with the Saints, but they do have an explosive offense, and it started really well with Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott.
The Cowboys' offense is it's led by the main 3 people: Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott, and Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott had that long holdout, but finally ended it. Dak Prescott still wanting to get paid, and Amari Cooper joined from the Raiders to the Cowboys, and I think the Cowboys' offense is probably one of the most dynamic offenses in the league. They have a top 3 running back, top at least 10 quarterback, top 5 receiver. But I think the Cowboys are doing really well this season. But the defense did really well against the Saints, but the offense couldn't capitalize. I think the Cowboys are going to do really well this game, and I think they're probably going to win.
This is a big game for Dak Prescott. He's played very well throughout the season so far, except for the game last week on Sunday Night Football at New Orleans. And games like this is where you see whether your young quarterback is the franchise quarterback you want to choose leading forward. One of the big main points of their offensive explosion they've had this year so far is Kellen Moore, the new offensive coordinator. He was the quarterback's coach for Dallas last season, promoted to offensive coordinator. He's done a great job. He was at Boise State when they shocked Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl in 2007, and he's one of the best masterminds in the National Football League. Lots of big games this week, and MVP race is also in conversation, starting to get some ground. Patrick Mahomes has obviously done well, and Pierce has his MVP race.
Yeah, it's mostly going to be quarterbacks all the time, but the running backs, Saquon injured his ankle, and Christian McCaffrey and Ezekiel Elliott are probably battling it out to get into the MVP race. But I have 3 great quarterbacks in my MVP race. I have Packers QB, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Patrick Mahomes. Leading it would probably be Mahomes, then Wilson, then Rodgers, but I think all of them could end up winning the MVP this year. Mahomes won it last year, but Wilson is off to a great start. After last night's game against the Rams, he really proved how good he can do, and on the road at Pittsburgh, that was a good game for him. Russell, he's just Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the veteran quarterbacks in the league, along with Tom Brady. Tom Brady's just outside of this, but Aaron Rodgers, I think he could gain some ground, but I don't think in the end he'll win.
And my power rankings for this year, or for week 5, is Kansas City comes in at number 1, 4-0. Offense is pretty much unstoppable, although they almost lost last week at Detroit. They're home against the Colts on Sunday Night Football. They're number 1 by far. I had a little trouble with this one at number 2, but I chose the Patriots to come in at 4-0. And they had an ugly win last week against the Bills, but they're still undefeated. They play the Redskins this week. The Saints come in at number 3. They lost Drew Brees in week 2 in that tough loss at Los Angeles. But since then, Teddy Bridgewater has done a fantastic job at the helm for New Orleans. They play home against the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers are 2-2, shockingly, and the Saints are 3-1. So that's a big NFC South battle. The Packers come in at number 4. They would be higher, but the loss against the Eagles put them back down. They're 3-1. They play at the Cowboys, as we mentioned before. And number 5, the San Francisco 49ers. They're undefeated, but I don't believe that they belong with the conversation like the Chiefs and Patriots. They're just a level below. They haven't played great teams yet. They've played the Bengals, Steelers, and Bengals, Steelers, and Buccaneers. They haven't really played much competition yet, but they will on Monday Night Football against the Browns. Thank you for watching this video for Sports Broadcasting, and we'll be back next week.